Hey everyone, it's Roger back with another video, this time helping to guide your way through your first points-based discussion. This one's worth 5. And so before we even get started, I just want to make sure that our community understands the way that I evaluate these. And so as opposed to thinking about your perspectives and your opinions, which are very valuable for these forums, I'm going to be grading you based on your level of engagement with the resources. So whether or not I agree or disagree with your perspective, whether or not you agree or disagree with mine, I'm going to grade you based on whether or not you're engaging the resources with depth, you're drawing explicit quotes from the readings, you're looking at explicit examples from the videos, and you're applying that in your discussion and answering the discussion question prompts. And so with that said, let's jump into our first points-based discussion, and let's take a look at the situation of ethnic studies in Arizona. And so I don't want to give you too many things to look at for this week, but I do want to pull up the actual legislation itself. And so here I have House Bill 2281, so you can kind of see how the state of Arizona developed this policy. And so we're not going to read the whole thing, but I do want to draw your attention to some of the things that the media representations caught on to. And so if we look at lines 12 through 15 in the actual policy, we're seeing here that any program that is designed to promote the overthrow of the United States government, promote resentment towards a race or class of people, is designed primarily for peoples of a particular ethnic group, and 4 advocates ethnic solidarity instead of the treatment of peoples as individuals, would be banned by Tucson Unified School District. As you remember from some of the resources, the only real ban was applied to Mexican American studies as opposed to other programs in the school district. And so I'm going to go ahead and click off of this and return us back to the discussion. And so I know the De Los Rios reading could be pretty challenging at some points, and if some of the words are kind of jargony, don't worry about it. Let's go over some of the things in De Los Rios that I think can be interesting. So I want you to remember that law that kind of suggested, the resentment towards a race or class of people. And I want to kind of think about how students kind of felt about that and how, in some cases, the De Los Rios research may challenge that. So let me go ahead and pull up that De Los Rios article. And so I've scrolled all the way kind of down to page 10 out of 16. This is where you're going to find more of the student voices, and you can use some of the evidence that the students are kind of like reflecting on to challenge the validity or even the logics of the state legislation itself. And so if we think about this idea that ethnic studies generates resentment towards a race or class of people, I think that one of the things that De Los Rios points out is the ways that maybe ethnic studies challenges the ways that mainstream curriculum could actually incorporate hatred and resentment to a group or class of people. Here's the example that I would choose. So this is from Antonio, and the first thing that he kind of said is, I used to clown on the paisas. And if you look kind of like more down at his quote, he states, I realized later that that was me hating myself and my cultura. And kind of I think what he means by that, if I were to write in a discussion forum, is that not having ethnic studies actually produced resentment and hatred towards a race or class of people. In this case, the culture and the racial group that he actually came from. And so I want you to kind of think about the ways that De Los Rios uses some of the student voices and use some of these student voices to kind of reflect back on that law and see if this is actually the outcomes that are happening in an ethnic studies class. I realize this is just a Mexican American studies class. We have to do research on all ethnic studies courses, but for the purpose of this exercise, let's really look at Mexican American Studies in Tucson Unified School District, the film Precious Knowledge, and then really try to put your best foot forward and try to draw a quote from this De Los Rios article and really kind of put together a discussion that engages the law itself, engages some of the student voices from the film, and engages some of the student voices from this De Los Rios article. And if you do that, I'm happy to give you a 5. So good luck, everyone. Please start posting. I know it is sometimes an anxiety kind of experience when you're trying to post and have other people read your stuff. Don't worry about it. Get in there. We're going to build community with each other. I'm going to grade really easy on this first one. So get in there.